Hey guys, CephalonKet here. So I just finished Dragon's Dogma 2 and I thought to make a video talking about my thoughts about the game, some comparisons to the previous game, Dragon's Dogma 1, and just, now that I've gone through the ending, I got the true ending of the game and just started New Game Plus. So I have some thoughts that I would like to share. So let me preface this by saying that I'm a huge Dragon's Dogma fan. I played the original for thousands of hours across multiple systems. I had the original on the Xbox 360. I then bought Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen again on the 360, then bought it again when it came on PC. So I'm a huge fan. That is an understatement. So because of that, I thought to make a video talking about the comparisons that came to my head while playing the game and also just a general review. So yeah, this video is going to talk about spoilers about the entire game, okay? So if you have not finished the game, if you want to experience a story, finish it, get the true ending, that's important, get the true ending, and then come back, okay? All right, here we go. So let's get some main gameplay things out of the way that while I was playing, I was thinking, why did they change this compared to the previous game? So movement kind of feels jankier than the previous game, which is surprising to me. Like the movement, the running, it just feels a bit sluggish compared to the previous game. And I wish we felt more mobile. So the main thing, besides just, feeling sluggish, is that the jumping is horrible. There is no double jump anymore, and you really, really feel it, especially if you play a shorter character. So it just felt like there was a hindrance to my movement that would feel so much better if I had double jump like in the previous game. Also, they changed how climbing on monsters works. So now there is, I guess they did it so you could avoid run out of stamina. So climbing, you grab on, and then if you land on a good spot, you can stop grabbing on and you regen stamina, which, is good in theory. However, grabbing enemies is also different from the previous game. It seems like sometimes when you press the grab button, you, instead of grabbing on to the enemy, you push, which, why would you push a boss? I don't know why they left that in the game and didn't only have that when having boulders and things like that. And also it seems like when you jump, you cannot press on the grab button if the game does not see that you have an enemy in front of you. It only seems to work when you have the enemy right within range, which makes it, again, it feels like very sluggish if you miss your jump. I wish it was like the previous game where you could very easily just jump and grab on, and it just felt much smoother in the previous game. Another thing is that there seems to be things to slow you down when there is really no need because the game is already huge. It was the same in the previous game, but I wish, for example, they allowed for infinite stamina outside of combat. There is no reason to not have this. Even hardcore games like Elden Ring have it. So it just makes for very slow traveling, especially in a game with very limited fast travel, very limited port crystals, fairy stones, in such a huge world. So I wish they had changed that and allowed for infinite stamina. I have a mod now that allows for infinite stamina outside of combat, and instantly the game feels a lot better, but it's a shame that I had to mod the game to have that. Also, the default weight limit seems incredibly low. I don't know if that was because I had a very the smallest height character possible, but the weight limit was horrible. Again, modded the game to mitigate that, but it's a shame because they do have a mechanic to increase your weight limit, and it seems like they lowered your weight limit by default just so it forces you to go out in the world and catch all those beetles that increase your inventory. But it's still, for a huge chunk of the game, my weight limit slowed me down even more, because if you instantly, when you're on average and heavy weight, your run speed is much slower. And again, the traveling, it's just so slow and sluggish because of it. Also, another thing that I don't love, that they changed from Dragon's Dogma 1 to Dragon's Dogma 2, is that they changed the weapons that each vocation has. So in the original, a strider and an archer, then an assassin, basically all vocations had two choices at least of weapons they can equip. But this time they changed it. So, for example, an archer only has a bow, a thief only has daggers, and I believe also the magic archer also does not have daggers and a staff anymore. They only have the magic bow. I haven't played it, so I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure they changed it like that. And there are just some things that are a downgrade to the vocations over the previous game. It seems like they did that because of the new vocation, I forget the name, that allows you to have all the weapons. So, in favor of having a vocation like that, they nerfed all the other vocations. So, also finally, I wanted to very, very briefly touch on the performance and the microtransactions. Now, personally, my PC is not the best. My performance was fine considering that. I didn't notice anything that made me think the performance was incredibly bad. I don't think I'm the right person to ask due to my computer. So yeah, I just think that my playthrough was not hindered by the frame rate dropping in cities and stuff. That's just my personal experience. Also, for microtransactions, I know new players might be surprised or disappointed, but it was not surprising to me because there were some silly microtransactions in the original Dragon's Dogma 2. It's we knew this would happen already. It wasn't something that's unexpected. And also, thankfully, the microtransactions are for very optional things that you can find in game. So that's the first gameplay stuff out of the way. I'm gonna talk briefly about the things I noticed on New Game Plus at the end, and we are going to touch upon the story now. So as of the making of this video, I just finished the main story. I did any side quest I came across. I thought I was taking my time, but it's still, surprisingly to me, it only took me 47 hours to finish the entire main story and the side quest I came across. So the main story definitely feels shorter than the first game, and I really did not expect that. Like, I know I was very excited to see the story, but it was still quite surprising that there wasn't more there. So another thing is that while I took my time, I still had a hard time finding quests. Now, that's probably something that is intentional, let's say, because I've seen that, for example, I've seen cutscenes in trailers and stuff with characters that I never got in my main game. So I know there's more content, but for the life of me, I cannot trigger it. I don't know what I've done wrong. Main characters, the lady at the brothel, I'm sorry, I forget her name, but I know they have quests, but I cannot find out how to trigger them. I talk to them all the time. I go and talk to them again and again, and it just won't trigger, and I don't know how to trigger them. So I don't know if it's like Elden Ring, where you have to go to a specific place, trigger something, and then go back. I don't know what I'm missing, but apparently I'm missing a lot. So the dragon is not nearly as cool as the first game, in my opinion. In the first game, you really feel that the dragon is the antagonist. You get to see him a little bit more. Again, it's not a figure that you expect to see a lot, and it was the same in the first game, but there was a cutscene, for example, before the final choice with the dragon that really, made a point of showing you that this is a badass dragon who's not just an evil being, but that requires you to step forward and fight him. And also in the previous game, you do learn what the dragon is, whereas in this game, it's more perhaps implied. I don't know. It just, the dragon felt a lot cooler and badass. Grigori felt a lot more badass in the previous game. The cutscene with your beloved felt incredibly rushed. In fact, I don't know if it was because I did not really pursue a romance this time around, because honestly, I couldn't find any romance quests to do. So I just ended up with a random beloved. But compared to the first game, where it seems like it's a big deal to make you decide between your beloved and fighting the dragon, this time it's so easy to say, okay, this is a random guy I met and I did a couple of quests for, and now he loves me apparently. So I wish they also put some more care into making you care for that character that gets caught by the dragon. It just feels like they did not go to that length as in the previous game. I had to squint to see who the dragon caught for me. It was Sigurd, a guy that gave me the magic spear hand vocation. I don't know why he was my beloved, but here we go. It just, in general, the cutscene to make your choice felt very rushed. I don't know if they did not want it to look very similar to the previous game, but I just, it felt, in comparison, I can't help but think that, oh, I wish it was like the first game where there was epic music and it really made you feel like, oh, you're making a choice now. So, yeah, felt a bit rushed to me. Also, after finishing the game and starting New Game Plus, I have a couple of unanswered questions. So, here they are. How do the pasta reasons work? I don't know if I missed something with the story, but it's not very clear how they work. Like, do they have their heart back if they failed? Like, do they get it back? Or are they also immortal until the dragon that you kill gets killed? Where do their pawns go? Do they just poof in smoke when they fail? Unlike in the previous game where the Dragon Forge had his pawn, this time he doesn't have a pawn. None of the Arisen that you meet across the world have pawns. So did they change it? And now they just, as soon as they are not Arisen anymore, their pawns just leave. And where do their dragons go? Do they also leave? Do they die because their Arisen is not there anymore? Is it one single dragon that keeps coming back? Is the dragon that you fight the one that, for example, the Dragon Forged and Sigurd and what was her name, Luz, and all of them failed to fight? Like, how does it work? It seems like they changed some things from the previous game, and there's some lore stuff that it makes me wonder if I should keep my knowledge from the first game or if they retconned a bunch of stuff. Like, if there is a sovereign when there is an Arisen, but the Arisen that beats a dragon becomes God, does this mean that every sovereign has neglected their duty of fighting the dragon? That was my thought if we go by the first game, but now this doesn't apply because it appears like the Arisen is not meant to become God. It's different from the first game. So in the first game, the Arisen, everything that happens is a test. The world going to shit after you kill a dragon, it's all a test made by the Seneschal, that is the god of the world, because he's trying to find a new god. However, in Dragon's Dogma 2, it seems like they completely retconned that, and I'm not sure, it's not clear to me. Was the dragon at the very end the Seneschal, the Watcher, let's say, and now there is no Watcher in the world? Like, what does it mean that you kill the Seneschal? Saying Seneschal because it's what we called it in the previous game. That and you don't take their place. What does it mean? And New Game Plus, I don't think is going to cover this. I don't think my questions are going to get answered. And yeah, so those are my thoughts right off the top of my head. I noted them down while I was playing. So yeah, in general, I do really like some changes. The huge world, the variety of monsters, but I don't know. Of course, nostalgia plays a big role here, I'm sure, but I did like the story in the first game more. I felt like the ending was more impactful. The fact that your pawn gains a soul thanks to you, that seems to also have been kept in a way in the sequel. However, it's not the same. So in the original game, they had it that pawns took the form, appearance of their arisen. But it seems they retconned that because a lot of people wanted to bang their pawns. So it just made it that the arisen seems to gift a will to the pawns, which is a nice change. I like that. However, I would have liked to see what becomes of your pawn, because in the final scene, the pawn turns into a shadow dragon and it says, "I gained a will, hooray." But what happens? Do you die? And does your pawn also die? Do you both perish in favor of killing the dragon that seems to be the watcher of the world? Like, what happened there? I have a lot of unanswered questions when it comes to that ending, and I wish like at least New Game Plus had things that answer those questions. However, I suspect there won't be. If there are any cool new stuff in New Game Plus when it comes to the story, please let me know, because I would really like to know that there's something waiting for me when it comes to the story. But yeah, in general, for New Game Plus, let's touch about two things I noticed as soon as I started New Game Plus. Two horrible things that I don't understand why they did it. So one, the port crystals go back to your inventory in New Game Plus instead of staying in the world when you put them down, like in the first game. I don't understand why they did that, why they just say, nope, you gotta go there again by foot and place it down. Like the whole point in the first game of placing the port crystals was so you could then in New Game Plus travel around much easier, because you had already seen those places, you had already made your way there. But this time they're like, nope, you gotta travel again. I don't understand why they did that. Also, another thing that as soon as I saw it, I don't know if it's a bug, I don't think it's a bug, it's just something that I absolutely hate, and it's going to hurt my New Game Plus experience so much, is that my entire map became uncovered in New Game Plus. So any place I hadn't been just became completely uncovered now, which is absolutely horrible for me, because in New Game Plus, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to explore all the places that I hadn't been by looking at my map. That is my plan. But now the map is all uncovered and I don't know the places that I haven't been. I don't understand why they did that. I'm pretty sure that was also not the case in the previous game. I don't know if I'm misremembering. I'm pretty sure though that in the previous game they did not uncover your whole map. So those are two things that I absolutely hate. Also, another unanswered question is, what happened? What is the whole deal with the dragon plague that plagues the pawns? we never get an answer about that. They're like, oh, it's a mysterious illness. Like, you never find out more about it. It's just a mysterious mechanic that can also apparently wipe entire towns if you don't notice your any of the pawns you have having the dragon plague. It's I wish like they talk about it so much. It felt like cut content, honestly, not to reveal what the hell is up with that, you know? So this is another thing that I don't like. Also, as soon as I read that apparently they can wipe out towns if you're not careful, I'm very paranoid about the pawns that I'm gonna get. But yeah, apparently, if you notice red eyes and if they talk about not listening to you when you give them commands, instantly dismiss those pawns, instantly throw your main pawn to the water and bring them back to cure them, because that's apparently a thing. And when it happens, they turn to when they wipe at whole town, they turn into a shadow dragon, which is also the shadow dragon from the ending. Your pawn becomes a shadow dragon in the ending. So what does this mean? What does it all mean? Why do you not tell me? You know, it just I wish that we had more information about that. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I'm sorry if the whole my points are a mess. I just wrote a couple of notes down and I wanted to talk about it because it's fresh in my mind. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Don't think I didn't like the game. Of course I did. I really love the game. It's just that there are a couple of things that I wish were different that I can't help but compare to the previous game in the series. So I definitely wish that we are going to see more in the series, and also this game. I hope there's a DLC like in Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. The expansion was amazing, and I do hope we see something similar for Dragon's Dogma 2. So let me know what you think about the points I brought up. If you finished the game as well, your experience, did you play the previous game? Are you fresh in the series? Does that affect how you view the points that I brought up? Let me know. And yeah, comment, like, subscribe, all of that. And I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you later. Bye bye!